And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. We are getting ready for the Washington Commanders versus the Philadelphia Eagles. This is obviously going to be a big game for both teams as this is for the top of the NFC East. And so, as we get ready to go ahead and get into just some of the key takeaways for this game, just to let you know that Marshawn Lattimore is not going to be out there for the Washington Commanders. And also, too, we do have Brian Robinson Jr., who is back. So we'll see just how good he is today. You see that there is some expected rain out there. So that may play a little bit into today's game and maybe the playing style. This is Washington going to Philadelphia. So we're on the road at this point in time. Looking at some of the key inactives right now, you see as well that we do not have our place kicker, Austin Cyber. He's going to be out as well. So I think that we'll see what happens. We did have our new place kicker last week, did pretty well, and now he's going to be kicking into some conditions. Last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers, it didn't start raining until after the game, so we'll see what happens there. You're looking at some of the key outs for the Philadelphia Eagles. James Bradbury is not going to be there. Obviously, he was the starting cornerback for them. I think that is a possibility or a possible for the Washington Commanders, I think, to really attack the secondary of the Eagles. And so let's go ahead and jump into our last key takeaways before we go ahead and jump off here. And so starting with the quarterback play. And so I think with Jaden Daniels, the key for him is just going to be to really continue to move this football team. I think that it is going to be key for him to make the plays to where we do have some long, sustained drives. And this is something that I think Jaden Daniels has been able to do. But in the games that we have lost, it seems like he is feeling the pressure a little bit. Maybe he's sped up a little bit. And so I think that that's something that cannot happen against the Philadelphia Eagles. So hopefully he's able to stay poised there, continue to move the football, keep their defense on the field, get those long drives. And like I said in yesterday's video, the Washington Commanders really need to finish with touchdowns. We don't want to be in situations where we're kicking field goals, especially if the weather is not going to be that great today with the rain expected. I think that we need to go out there and we need to finish drives. And so on the other side of the ball with Jalen Hurts, look, Jalen Hurts has been hot the last couple of weeks, 12 touchdowns, 5 INTs. I talked about the fact that he has one of the better completion percentages in the NFL. Now, with Jalen Hurts, what he does do at times is he holds the football. He's going to give you some chances to get back there and get some sacks. Right now, the Commanders are in the top 10 in sacks. And so hopefully we can get him to hold on to the football. That would mean that pass rush, we're able to get off the ball well. We're able to get through that line. Or that means that our secondary is going to be able to hold up enough for the front four to get there. And so either way, the Washington Commanders need to make sure that they make Jalen Hurts uncomfortable. You get him to hold on to that football. And if you get him to hold on to the football, perhaps you get him to turn the football over like he did against the Dallas Cowboys last week. He had a bad fumble there. Then also, too, the one thing about Jalen Hurts is he likes to try to get the home run play sometimes. And so you might be able to force him into an interception. And I think that a turnover would be great in a game like this, especially divisional games. Like this is where, turnovers, field position, like that is going to be huge, I think, for the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. So hopefully we can get Jalen Hurts to turn the football over. Next up, when it comes down to running the football, look, Saquon Barkley, he has owned the Washington Commanders. This is something that the Washington Commanders are certainly going to have to take care of. I think that when you're looking at Saquon Barkley, I think that the first thing you want to do is you want to limit the amount of yards that he's getting. Next up, you want to make sure that if you do put him into the passing game, you want to make sure you're able to find him, all right? Because we know that he's going to have that ability to kind of get away from the one-on-one matchups that he's probably going to get with the linebackers and things like that. Obviously, I do trust Bobby Wagner in this situation if he has to lock up with Saquon Barkley. But I think the first thing that you want to take away from Saquon Barkley and what he's doing is just his ability to kind of gash you. And so I think if we take that ability out of Saquon Saquon Barkley and turn him a little bit more into a receiver, then I think that that bodes well for the Washington Commanders. As far as the Washington Commanders running the football, you see that Jaden Daniels, yes, he has 404 yards, 4 touchdowns on 85 carries, but the key for the Commanders is going to be Brian Robinson Jr. He's the main piece for this running game. And like he gives this team another edge and identity with his physical style of running. And so I want to see more of Brian Robinson Jr. How much more we get from him, it's going to depend on how good his hamstring is. I know when he was playing out there with the bad knee, which he might be still dealing with that, you do see him featured, but there were times where, that's where Austin Eckler, Jeremy McNichols, they've had to step in. And so we might see a little bit more of Austin Eckler and Jeremy McNichols today in today's game, because I just don't know how good Brian Robinson Jr. is going to be today, especially with a hamstring in this type of weather. Next up, receiving wise. So look, the Eagles have a clear advantage here with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. They're some of the better wide receivers out there in all the NFL. Coming into this thing, A.J. Brown, look, 28 receptions, 553 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But more importantly for the Eagles, over the last, 6 games, 5 of those 6, he's had 80 plus. And so he's going against a secondary that is definitely very open and just giving out lots of yards to wide receivers and big plays. And hopefully we don't get caught in the same situation like we did last week where St. Juice gets beat like that. I think that Jalen Hurts definitely wants to throw the deep ball, throws a great deep ball. And so hopefully he doesn't complete it on us. But I think that A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith are certainly going to stretch our defense. And so can we hold on? Can we keep them in front of us? Can we make the Eagles really consume a lot of clock, have some tough drives to get scores? I think that that's going to be key because we do not need them to have big chunk plays out there. I think that that would hurt the Commanders. We don't want to be in a situation where we're chasing points. On the other side of this thing, look, we know that Terry McLaurin is off to a great start this season. He might have maybe his season's best ever, like a career best this year, if he continues on this pace right now. 47 receptions, 711 yards already with 6 touchdowns. But if the Eagles are able to take away Terry McLaurin, this is where I think Noah Brown is going to have a bigger impact on this game, certainly work in the middle of the field. And I think that Zach Ertz is primed for a big game tonight. I think that Zach Ertz is going to see a lot of receptions. And I also think that you could see a lot more of Austin Eckler in the passing game. I think that you put Austin Eckler out there in the passing game, I think that that bodes well for the Washington Commanders and really not being one-dimensional. So hopefully the Washington Commanders don't get one-dimensional, especially if the running game slows down here. So love to hear what your thoughts are as we get ready to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. This game coming up in just about an hour. My prediction here as a Washington Commanders fan, obviously, is that we're going to win this game. But being realistic, though, I think that it is possible that the Commanders can win this game, especially if they stay with their identity. I think that this is going to be like a 30-27 game. I like the Commanders in this one. So I think this is going to be the best Thursday night game that there has been, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. I'll see you after the game on the post game. This is Rico. This is Washington Commanders Insider. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.